And yes, Ripples-XRP, that entire ecosystem, had a pretty big impact on this case, or on this bill, the update of this bill, or the draft of this bill, along with a few other crypto companies. And again, we talk a lot about Ripple and XRP on this channel, primarily because when they had that unjust battle against the SEC, there was a lot of case law that was created. And case law matters. I'm not an attorney, I'm not a legal expert, but case law does matter, because when you're in a brand new industry, or you're in a brand new situation and nothing like that has ever been done before, you're essentially creating, when there's a judgment, when there's a ruling, you're essentially helping to establish brand new laws, regulation, etc. And even in court cases in the past, if it's something that's pretty standard, let's say non-disclosure with the House, there were court cases that are used prior to help determine the law and help determine the outcome of the case. And that's just standard procedure, that's what's used. But in crypto, we're talking about a brand new industry, a brand new sector. So you can't really apply laws from the 1940s, the 1930s via the SEC to crypto, because crypto, as far as these definitions from like the 30s as securities, it's so much different, because we're actually talking about technology. And then people can even argue that code is protected as free speech, etc. So things get a little bit tricky. But good news is Ripple lawsuit is completely over, and moving forward, we're in an era under an administration that is bullish on crypto, that wants to keep crypto in the US, that wants to establish technology, that wants to create jobs and do all of these things. So let's go ahead and get into that. But before we do, just so you guys know, this is not a political channel. The reason why we talk about politics is because it does impact what's happening currently with crypto, is because a lot of insanity. So let's go ahead and read what's going on. Senate Banking Committee releases updated draft crypto market structure bill. The bill is aimed to provide clear regulations for crypto. So they basically want to say, hey, this is what you can do. This is what you can't do. This is what a security is, not a security. We're going to give you a sandbox, X, Y, and Z. And this is all in collaboration with the CFTC and the SEC, who have actively come out and says, hey, we're going to work together to establish clear guidelines based off of the White House's crypto report. Pretty normal stuff. The updated bill exempts staking, airdrops, and depin from being treated as securities. So this is massive. Again, we still don't have clarity. What is a security? What isn't a security? We just know that the SEC and CFTC said that exchanges are allowed to offer trading for non-crypto securities, which we're talking about NASDAQ, cboe, all these things, but they haven't really indicated what is a security and what isn't a security. We know XRP is not a security on the secondary market from the Ripple case, etc. But they're still kind of trying to figure these out. And I have a feeling that most cryptos will not be classified as securities because they really don't fit that mold. And again, the updated bill exempts staking, airdrops, and depin from being treated as securities. And this is incredibly important because it's kind of like you earn passive income, especially with staking or with airdrops, or even in some depin aspects. And that's not necessarily, even though you're earning rewards, you're actually doing something to contribute. So you're essentially working. It's not like it's a kind of a weird thing. So, but it is what it is. It expands Section 101 to prevent SEC enforcement on non-fraudulent tokens. So again, SEC cannot go after non-fraudulent tokens like it was able to in the past. The new draft directly addresses Ripple's feedback to a previous version of the bill. And that's key over there, because Ripple actually stepped in and said, hey, we're going to give you some direction, etc. Look at what happened in the court case with us. The new draft directly addresses Ripple's feedback to the previous version of the bill by limiting the SEC's ability to pursue aggressive enforcement. So basically, Ripple said, hey, this is what happened to us. It was completely unnecessary. We didn't need this to happen. So please take a look at what happened with us and don't do this to other projects. So Ripple didn't have to actively step in, but they did. It also includes protections for developers, especially those working on DeFi protocols. And this is incredibly important, primarily because what we've seen happen with World Liberty Finance, the Trump family's platform, not President Trump, his family, but they've been blacklisting addresses. And they're claiming that their platform is decentralized. It's not really decentralized, because in decentralization, you don't blacklist anything. And again, DeFi does need to be exempt from a lot of the regulations that are coming. And we did actually hear Paul Atkins come out and talk about that to an extent. This was a couple months ago. But the fact that they're protecting developers is big, because remember, Roman Storm from Tornado Cash and then the Samurai Wallet devs, they got hit for literally no reason, in my opinion. All they did was create They created code, they created a product, and some people happen to use it for bad. And again, you shouldn't punish the people that are creating things just because other people decide to use it for bad things. Where's my spot? Okay, so it integrates the Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Act to support open source development, establishes a joint advisory committee for SEC and CFTC cooperation, which we kind of talked about, that the SEC and the CFTC are actually working together to bring fair regulations. My only issue with that is that DeFi does need to be completely exempt because that's the ethos of Bitcoin and crypto. And in addition, we need to remove the accredited investor law because it doesn't fit in today's norms, in my personal opinion. Also sets a regulatory framework for resolving regulatory disputes between the SEC and the CFTC, so you're just not getting sued from all ends. And the White House had earlier given Congress a September 30th deadline to pass the bill. So this could be coming any day now. Was currently September 6th, so we're good. Senator Mark Warner warns the deadline may slip without bipartisan backing. He previously warned without advancing legislation before it's fully fleshed out or lacks sufficient protection. So I understand what he's saying there. And again, one of the things that we do have to understand is that public servants work very slow. Public servants from different side of the spectrum, they want to, when they're negotiating bills, they also put demands for other things they want in there. So it's not strictly about that initial subject or topic, which is really frustrating, which is why we get these bills that are like 1,000 pages, 500 pages, etc. And that's primarily because all these public servants are negotiating on their own behalf, not necessarily the people. But either way, this is good news moving forward because they're basically saying depin, staking, and airdrops are considered not securities. And those are important parts to be able to run networks successfully. You need to be able to have people you need to be able to have people doing tasks to help push the network when it comes to depin. You need to have people doing, staking to essentially run the network. And airdrops are a really great way to get people to engage in your protocol or your project or whatever it is. Essentially, you're doing work for these companies by either marketing or doing little tasks or bugs. So this is all good moving forward. It's extremely positive. And shout out to Ripple and the XRP army, but primary to Ripple and all the other companies that submitted documentation like, hey, do this way, don't do this way. And again, I understand the markets aren't going super crazy right now, but literally at the end of the day, this is more bullish foundation that we are going to see. And I've said it time and time again, I really think that Q4 2025 is going to be absolutely wonderful and bullish for crypto. And hopefully that kind of pushes through into Q1 and Q2 of 2026. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to smash the like, share this, subscribe, set alerts. And yeah, I know I streamed a little bit early. Lo and I, we've got a big day today. So I wanted to make sure I got this information out to you. Hope you guys have a wonderful time with your family. Okay, bye.